Tonight, the horrific bridge collapse here in Baltimore, the search for victims, the investigation tonight. How could this happen? The stunning new images showing the moment a massive container ship crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge here in Baltimore, plunging the bridge into the river. Authorities on their radios just moments before sending out warnings to keep drivers off the bridge. And then the collapse.
The whole bridge just collapsed.
The ship going dark just moments before impact. The crew issuing a mayday. An 8-person road crew still on the bridge when it went down. 2 people rescued, 6 still unaccounted for. And tonight, what we have just learned here about the ship. Just moments ago, my interview with Maryland Governor Wes Moore. What happened in the moments before that collision. And our team here in Baltimore with the history of the ship. The crash just a couple of years back. Also tonight, the high-stakes battle over the abortion pill following the overturning of Roe versus Wade by the Supreme Court. The court now deciding whether to restrict the abortion pill across this country. What the justices said today, what they signaled already. Rachel Scott at the Supreme Court. Tonight, the federal raids at the homes of Sean Diddy Combs in Los Angeles and Miami, and sources tonight now telling ABC News this is a sex trafficking investigation involving Combs. Tonight, with federal authorities seized in those homes. Tonight, Donald Trump facing mounting legal bills and that bond now due in 9 days. Tonight, Donald Trump revealing he is now selling Bibles, charging $59.99. In New York City tonight, the subway rider accused of intentionally shoving a subway rider in front of the train onto the tracks. Tonight, news coming in of the arrest. We're tracking severe storms across several states tonight, lightning and damaging winds. Heavy rain also moving up the East Coast, Florida, right up through Washington, D.C., Philadelphia to New York City, and we'll time it out. And the heroes here in Baltimore who put out the emergency call just moments before the bridge came down here to keep drivers off the bridge. They saved countless lives.
From ABC News, this is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, reporting tonight from Baltimore Harbor, Maryland.
And good evening tonight from Baltimore Harbor, Maryland. We are here at the scene of the catastrophic collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge here in Baltimore. You can actually see the cargo ship right here behind me. That's the ship itself. And then right next to it, that hole in the skyline where the bridge once was, that massive cargo ship smashing into the bridge around 1:30 in the morning here, the bridge collapsing right into the harbor waters. The ship had alerted harbor authorities to an emergency. They had lost power, police quickly blocking traffic at both ends, saving lives just before the collision and then collapse. But an 8-man maintenance crew was on the work at the bridge. 2 workers survived this, an urgent search all day for 6 of those workers. A live stream camera capturing the stunning moments before the collapse, the ship losing power, the lights going out, then slamming into a bridge support. And that awful moment, the 1.6-mile-long bridge completely fails and collapses. When the sun came up here this morning, the stunning images coming into focus, the tangled metal draped over the ship, and all day long here, the massive search and rescue effort. The Coast Guard, the NTSB, fire departments, and first responders all on the scene here. FBI divers probing the waters, sonar detecting vehicles underwater. At this hour, Baltimore has declared a state of emergency. President Biden promising to rebuild the bridge, asking Congress to help. And tonight, what we're now learning from the investigation already, the history of this cargo ship, my interview with the governor of Maryland just moments ago here. But first tonight, the terrifying images moments before the collision, and then what brought this bridge down. Gio Benitez leading us off here in Baltimore.
The entire Key Bridge has fallen into the harbor.
The catastrophic bridge collapse in Baltimore.
Yo! What the?
Tonight, the search for answers and the missing as a construction company says 6 of its workers are presumed dead. What we're learning about the vessel's loss of power and that mayday call that may have saved lives. This bridge carries some 30,000 people every day. It is a major commuter route, and now it is completely shut down. The CBS Evening News starts now. Good evening, I'm Norah O'Donnell, and thank you for being with us. We are here tonight not far from that catastrophic collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. The devastation is beyond words with this massive structure in ruins, twisted and broken. By daylight, the extent of what happened here became more clear. The video is stunning, and it tells us a lot about what happened after the ship lost power, then collided with the bridge. Tonight, we're also learning more about the survivors and the missing. Construction workers were fixing potholes on this heavily traveled bridge in the early hours of the morning. The community here devastated, many telling us this view will never be the same with the bridge that has stood for decades no longer in the skyline. A state of emergency now issued by Maryland's governor, and everyone from the federal government to local law enforcement pitching in to help a community in shock.
Tonight, the state of emergency here in Baltimore and the urgent search for survivors after a cargo ship hit a major bridge and caused a catastrophic collapse. The dramatic video, that massive container ship ramming into a pillar on the Francis Scott Key Bridge. In a matter of seconds, the bridge collapsing in a massive twisted metal. Moments before the collision, the ship issuing a mayday. Authorities stopping traffic with just seconds to spare. Tonight, my conversations with the mayor and governor and witnesses who captured some of the stunning images.
What do you think of when you look at the video now?
Still in shock, definitely, in disbelief.
And now that urgent search, a construction crew filling potholes on the bridge now missing. 2 found alive, but 6 unaccounted for. The all-out effort by sea and by air, and the questions: why did the ship lose control? And how could it happen in one of the country's biggest ports? Our full coverage ahead. Also tonight, the high-stakes battle at the Supreme Court over the abortion pill, the major case that could restrict access, including through the mail, what the justices signaled today. The new details on what was found in the federal raids on the homes of Sean Diddy Combs and his attorney firing back tonight.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, reporting tonight from Baltimore.
Good evening, everyone, from Baltimore. It was described as a cathedral of American infrastructure. Tonight, the Francis Scott Key Bridge is a mangled ruin, and there is an urgent search underway for 6 people missing after a huge container ship on its way out of Baltimore Harbor rammed a pillar in the dark of night. Daylight revealing the twisted wreckage, pinning the ship below. 2 people were rescued, but 6 missing road workers are now feared dead, according to their construction company. Officials say a mayday call from the ship just before impact gave officials just enough time to stop traffic and prevent more cars and people from falling into the water. Thousands of people traverse this bridge every day, and though President Biden is vowing to rebuild, it could take months after a disaster no one saw coming.